cover Sentinel, one of the biggest, strongest, and most offensive characters in the game. Sentinel is a good addition to virtually any team, with its super armor defensive attributes and its ability to chain together multiple hyper combos. First and foremost, all of Sentinel's normal attacks inflict chip damage. This gives Sentinel a big damage boost and forces an opponent to be extremely careful near the end of a match to avoid blocking an attack from Sentinel and getting KO'd. Sentinel is one of the few characters that has the ability to fly. Flying gives Sentinel enhanced evasive abilities, allowing it to easily evade attacks that would be difficult for other characters. Sentinel cannot block while flying, but it has an unfly technique that cancels Sentinel out of flying, allowing him to block. This set of techniques is generally referred to as fly-unfly. Sentinel is one of the few characters who can use an assist in the air. It gives Sentinel an added advantage while in the air. Most characters are limited to the basic Magic Series combo in the air, while Sentinel can force opponents into a deadly guessing game with its ability to use an assist in mid-air. Adding to Sentinel's offensive prowess is its ability to chain multiple hyper combos. For example, it can perform a rocket punch cancelled into a hyper combo, cancelled into a second rocket punch, cancelled into a second hyper combo. This allows Sentinel to KO a character after connecting with a single rocket punch in some situations. On the defensive end, Sentinel almost always has his super armor active. This limits an opponent's ability to launch Sentinel into the air. Instead of being able to use a single hit to knock Sentinel into the air, an opponent must combo into a launching attack. Sentinel's super armor also prevents it from being stunned or knocked into the air in a single hit, which forces most characters to change how they play against the rest of the characters in the game. Sentinel does not have super armor while flying, so keep this in mind to avoid taking unnecessary damage. In this video you learn the essential techniques and abilities that make Sentinel a force to be reckoned with in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This includes offensive abilities, such as normal attacks inflicting chip damage, and its ability to chain multiple hyper combos, as well as defensive abilities such as fly, unfly, and super armor. All of these techniques make Sentinel an excellent addition to virtually any team. In this video we will cover Storm, who is one of the fastest characters in the game. Storm has very good control over the distance between herself and the opponent, and has the ability to float, giving her enhanced evasion. Anytime Storm is airborne, she has the ability to float. Press and hold up while Storm is falling to the ground to slowly float in mid-air. While she is floating, she can build her hyper combo gauge by using any attack. Heavy Punch generally works best in this situation because of its fast execution speed. Floating also allows Storm to evade attacks from below, and she can dash while floating to gain additional evasiveness. Like Magneto, Storm has a triangle jump, which gives her the ability to instantly force the opponent into a guessing game. To perform Storm's triangle jump, jump into the air, then press diagonally down forward in both punches, followed immediately by light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and/or heavy kick. Since all physical aerial attacks are overhead attacks, the opponent is forced to guess between an overhead attack or a low attack. As a rushdown offensive character, Storm's speed combined with her ability to triangle jump gives her a big advantage. She can keep constant pressure on an opponent by continually attacking from her triangle jump. Her range of attack is also very wide, allowing her to attack from a distance. Storm is the only character in the game who can build her hyper combo gauge using a throw. When combined with her floating technique, this gives her the ability to build her hyper combo gauge faster than any other character, making her a significant offensive threat. Storm's Ice Storm hyper combo is the only hyper combo in the game that forces an opponent to block it from anywhere on the screen. This gives her a significant advantage due to chip damage and the ability to force an opponent into blocking if they're pressuring Storm. The Lightning Storm hyper combo is easy to combo into, and once it hits, it's very easy to tag in another character or chain into another hyper combo. One of her trademark combos is her lightning attack, cancelled into the Lightning Storm hyper combo. As a keep away defensive character, Storm can super jump away from an opponent and use her floating technique to stay away. She can continually float to stay away from an opponent, and many of her attacks, such as the Whirlwind, can be used from this vantage point. All of these abilities make it very difficult to chase down Storm when she's being played defensively. In this video, you learned about the techniques that make Storm one of the fastest and most feared characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You learned about her ability to float and use ranged attacks to play defensively, or triangle jump and use throws and floating to build her hyper combo gauge, creating a deadly offensive character. In this video, we will cover Cable, who is one of the best long-range characters in the game. Cable has a very good control over distance, similar to Storm, and his aerial Hyper Viper Beam is one of the best attacks in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The most important thing to know about Cable is the sheer power of his aerial Hyper Viper Beam hyper combo. To execute the aerial Hyper Viper Beam, rotate the control stick or directional pad forward from down to diagonally up forward and press both punch buttons. The diagonal up forward direction at the end of the notation lifts Cable off the ground, allowing him to perform the aerial hyper combo instantly. The difference between Cable's ground-based Hyper Viper Beam and the aerial Hyper Viper Beam is that the aerial version recovers instantly, allowing Cable to immediately block or use another aerial Hyper Viper Beam. If the ground version is used, Cable is left vulnerable to a counterattack at the conclusion of the hyper combo. Cable can be classified as a punishment character or an offensive character. As a punishment character, he can use his Hyper Viper Beam hyper combo from virtually anywhere on the screen. If almost any mistake is made by an opponent, they will be punished severely by a well-timed Hyper Viper Beam. As an offensive character, Cable's heavy punch is a multi-hit projectile attack that can be cancelled into almost anything, including an aerial Hyper Viper Beam. His scimitar gives him a full-screen projectile attack that can hit an opponent in the air from virtually any distance. Cable's Elect Trap has varied range depending upon which version you use, between Light Punch and Heavy Punch. If you press and hold either button, it won't detonate until the button is released, making it extremely versatile. One of Cable's best offensive techniques is his ability to guard break an opponent. After an opponent has been KO'd, or following Cable's snapback, use an aerial Heavy Punch. If the opponent blocks this, follow it with an aerial Hyper Viper Beam for a guaranteed hit and big damage. In this video, you learned what makes Cable arguably the best character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. We covered his aerial Hyper Viper Beam, which many believe to be the single best attack in the game, in addition to his extremely useful guard break and his multitude of offensive attacks. In this video, we will cover Captain Commando, Dr. Doom, and Iron Man. All three characters are fairly good by themselves, but they work extremely well as assist characters. Captain Commando's anti-air assist is arguably one of the best in the game. It covers the entire length of the screen, which makes it nearly impossible to evade. In addition, it hits in front of and behind Captain Commando, with good horizontal range, and inflicts a decent amount of damage while knocking an opponent away from you. Dr. Doom can control distance in a similar fashion to Storm. He has multiple aerial projectile attacks, including his aerial Heavy Punch, Plasma Beam, and Photon Shot. Doom's aerial Heavy Punch is very good when used to keep an opponent away and build up his hyper combo gauge. The Plasma Beam is quick, inflicts a moderate amount of damage, and covers the entire length of the screen. The Photon Shot inflicts very good chip damage and covers a lot of range, making it difficult to evade. His anti-air assist Molecular Shield is very good to combo off of, and inflicts a significant amount of chip damage. Rounding out Dr. Doom is his standard crouching sweep. Dr. Doom's sweep randomly gains unblockable properties and cannot be blocked. Use it following a dash for maximum effectiveness. Simply dash forward and press down and heavy kick to perform the attack. Iron Man is a very solid character with a good anti-air assist that hits multiple times and holds an opponent in place, allowing for additional damage. His Proto Cannon hyper combo inflicts massive amounts of damage and covers a large portion of the screen, making it difficult to evade. Like Sentinel, Iron Man has the ability to fly by rotating the control stick or directional pad from down to back and pressing both kick buttons, which can be cancelled by the same notation. Iron Man is also one of the few characters in the game who can use an assist while airborne. This allows him to extend his combos, evade attacks, and apply offensive pressure to his opponents. After KOing an opponent or using a snapback, Iron Man can perform a guard break if the opponent blocks his heavy punch. He can then follow the attack with the Proto Cannon Hyper Combo or an Aerial Rave combo. In this video you learned about 3 characters, who were not as devastating as Storm, Magneto, Cable, and Sentinel, but are worthy additions to virtually any team. Captain Commando, Doctor Doom, and Iron Man all work extremely well as assist characters, with their own set of very useful attacks.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. New Age of Heroes.